The frozen world of Karos 9 was a place where nothing was meant to live. A planet covered in endless white ice, screaming winds, and crushing cold that could kill a human in minutes. Yet it had become important because humanity was running out of hope. Across the galaxy, humans were losing a brutal war against powerful alien forces who attacked without mercy, destroying colonies, burning cities, and pushing human fleets back again and again, until Earth itself felt like it might soon be next. Scientists searching for anything that could save humanity made a shocking discovery beneath the thick ice of Karos 9. Deep under the frozen ground rested a massive object that was clearly not natural. An enormous alien ship locked in ice for hundreds of years. The scans showed it was ancient, far older than human space travel, and built with technology far beyond anything humans understood. Because the situation was desperate, the human command decided to send a small team to investigate, knowing full well that enemy aliens constantly watched human movements and would react the moment something valuable was found. The team sent was not large or heroic in appearance. It included a few soldiers for protection, a science officer to study the alien technology, and one mechanic named Elias Ward, a man known not for bravery or rank but for his strange ability to fix things everyone else believed were beyond repair. Elias had spent his life repairing broken ships and damaged systems, often using simple tools and common sense instead of complex theories. And when asked why he agreed to travel to a frozen death world during a losing war, he simply said that if something was broken, someone should at least try to fix it. The excavation took many long and painful weeks as machines cut through ancient ice that resisted every drill, while storms battered the outpost and morale stayed low. But eventually the ice gave way and smooth black metal appeared beneath it, warm despite the cold and covered in glowing symbols no human could read. When the team finally opened a small breach into the alien ship, they expected danger, alarms, or weapons. But instead they found silence and dim lights flickering weakly like a dying flame. And the air that escaped was clean and ancient, as if the ship had been holding its breath for centuries. Inside, the ship was massive beyond imagination, with endless halls, curved walls that seemed grown rather than built, and strange machines fused into the structure itself. And as the humans walked deeper, Elias felt something no scanner could detect. The ship was not dead. It was injured, like a wounded giant trapped beneath ice and time. While the science officer struggled to understand the alien systems and the soldiers nervously watched for threats, Elias listened to the hum beneath the walls, the uneven rhythm of failing power and damaged systems, recognizing the sound the same way a mechanic recognizes a broken engine. At that very moment, far above the planet, enemy sensors detected the human activity, and alien fleets changed course toward Karos 9, moving fast and silent, drawn by the possibility of ancient power waking after centuries of sleep. Unaware of how little time they had, the human team continued exploring the ship as strange defense drones began to stir, confused and aggressive, forcing the soldiers to fight in tight corridors while alarms echoed through the ancient halls. Elias pushed forward despite the danger, following the pulse of failing energy deeper into the ship until he reached a vast chamber, where a damaged core floated at the center, cracked and unstable, clearly broken by some terrible battle long ago. The science officer admitted the truth that scared everyone. Human knowledge was not enough to understand or repair technology this old and advanced, and their mission might already be a failure. Elias, however, refused to accept that answer, believing that machines, no matter how advanced, always followed basic rules, and he began working with his hands, rerouting power, stabilizing flows, and using simple human tools on alien metal in ways that should not have worked, but somehow did. As he worked, The ship slowly responded, lights growing stronger, gravity stabilizing, corridors shifting to protect the humans instead of trapping them, as if the ship itself recognized the intent to help. Outside, the enemy fleets drew closer, and the first signs of battle appeared in orbit. While inside the frozen giant, something ancient began to awaken. Sensing that after hundreds of years of silence, a human hand had finally reached out to heal it, setting the stage for a conflict that would decide the fate of humanity and change the balance of the galaxy forever. The moment humanity's small team disturbed the alien ship, the galaxy responded with deadly speed. And the first waves of the Varric swarm arrived in orbit over Karos 9 like a storm of living warships. Sleek, fast, and terrifyingly alive, their hulls pulsing with strange energy and their movements precise and merciless, forcing the human defenders to scramble as the outpost's weapons barely scratched the surface of their alien armor while transports burned and soldiers fell under beams of bright, cutting energy. Inside the ship, the humans faced a different battle as the alien systems remained incomprehensible and dangerously unstable. With lights flickering unpredictably, gravity shifting without warning, and ancient defense drones activating as if to protect the ship from intruders, firing deadly energy at anyone in their path and forcing the security squad to fight desperately in confined hallways. While the science officer hesitated, terrified of touching technology centuries older than any human could understand, Elias Ward refused to stop, following the strange rhythm of the failing core with his hands and instincts, recognizing patterns in the alien machinery the same way he would diagnose a broken engine or a shorted circuit, feeling vibrations in walls and floors and understanding that the ship itself was alive, wounded and trying to communicate through pulses of energy. As he explored, Elias found the central chamber containing the ship's main core, a massive floating structure cracked and leaking power, with ancient conduits sparking like veins of fire and a soft hum that suggested life. And he realized that this ship had once fought in wars long before humanity existed, had defended other worlds, and had sacrificed itself to crash beneath the ice to prevent an enemy advance, waiting for centuries for aid that would never come until now. While he examined the damage, the human science officer and soldiers watched in awe as Elias bypassed systems, rerouted failing conduits, and used human ingenuity to create temporary connections where alien technology seemed impossible to mend. And though no one expected it to work, the ship responded slowly, stabilizing lights, correcting gravity, and opening safe pathways that protected the humans instead of endangering them, signaling trust in the human effort. Outside, the Varric swarm began striking harder, bombarding the surface with weapons designed to melt ice and crush human structures, and the base on Karos 9 was under siege. Soldiers fighting for every meter of frozen ground, transports struggling to lift off, and alarms echoing across the planet as humans tried to survive under overwhelming odds. But inside the ship, a different kind of battle raged, one of intelligence, intuition, and courage against a machine that had been broken for centuries. Elias understood that the alien ship was communicating without words, showing him visions of its past, the battles it had fought, the worlds it had protected, and the betrayal of time that had left it frozen and dying. And he realized that if he could repair the core fully, he would awaken a force far beyond human imagination, a being of war and defense that could fight alongside humanity when the odds seemed hopeless. Despite exhaustion, fear, and the constant threat of alien attack, Elias pressed on, connecting alien circuits to human tools, rerouting failing power, and improvising solutions no one else could comprehend. And as he worked, the ship's hum grew stronger, its lights brighter and its movements more controlled, as if it trusted that humanity's touch was genuine. showing that even creatures of unimaginable power could recognize the value of human ingenuity, determination, and courage. The Varex swarm above, sensing that the humans were activating a power long thought lost, became more aggressive, firing faster, maneuvering with deadly coordination. But the humans continued to survive thanks to the ship slowly stabilizing and protecting its new allies, demonstrating that even against overwhelming odds, humans could make a difference when they combined intelligence, instinct, and bravery. Elias finally reached a critical point, where a single connection could allow the ship's main core to stabilize fully and awaken its full potential. And he hesitated only briefly, knowing that the energy surging through the ancient machinery could kill him, but trusting that his experience, skill, and courage could guide him to success. And when he made the final link, the ship responded as never before. Power flaring, systems correcting themselves, gravity stabilizing, and strange corridors shifting to offer protection, signaling a full awakening after centuries of dormancy. At that moment, the Varex attacks intensified, sending massive waves of ships and energy across the planet. But the humans inside the ship felt a new confidence because they were no longer alone, and the alien vessel had begun to see humanity as worthy partners, recognizing courage and ingenuity as allies in the fight against impossible enemies. Elias sensed the emotions of the ship pain from centuries of silence, gratitude for help, and anger at the enemies approaching, and he understood that his work had changed the course of history, that the humans on the surface might now survive, and that the galaxy itself might soon see a force it had never encountered before, human determination amplified by ancient alien power. As the part ended, the humans prepared for the awakening of the ship, the first real demonstration of its might against the enemies in orbit. And the scene was set for a battle that would show the universe that humanity, though young and often underestimated, could touch something ancient, fix what seemed impossible, and through courage, skill, and heart, become a force that even the most terrifying alien powers would have to respect. Elias had done more than repair a machine. He had awakened a protector, forged a bond across species and centuries, and given humanity a chance to strike back against overwhelming odds, proving that sometimes one human hand, guided by intelligence and bravery, could change everything in a way no weapon or fleet ever could. The moment the ancient alien ship fully awakened, Karos 9 shook as the ice that had held it for centuries shattered, sending mountains of frozen debris into the sky and revealing the immense scale of the vessel to everyone watching. And for the human soldiers on the surface, it was a sight that inspired awe and fear at the same time, because the machine they had only begun to understand now rose like a titan of war, vast, dark, and gleaming with energy that radiated raw power and intelligence. Above the planet, the Varex swarm had no time to celebrate their approach before the alien ship moved with terrible speed and grace, its weapons lighting up the void, beams of energy slicing through the swarm ships like knives through silk, while the humans on the surface scrambled to survive amidst falling ice, burning transports, and explosions, finally feeling a glimmer of hope as the awakened giant took the fight to their enemies in ways no human fleet could achieve alone. The ship's weapons were strange and powerful beyond human comprehension, bending energy and space itself to strike with precision and devastating effect. And entire formations of the Varex vanished almost instantly, leaving the remaining ships in confusion and panic, while human fighters joined the battle, small and fragile in comparison, yet suddenly more effective because the alien ship shielded them, coordinated with them, and created openings where humanity could strike back against a foe that had always seemed invincible. Just as victory over the first wave seemed possible, the called Dominion arrived, their massive war fleet stretching across the stars like a wall of steel, firing weapons that could crack moons and obliterate fleets, and for a moment, the humans and their ancient ally felt the full weight of the galaxy's danger, knowing that even with the awakened ship, the fight would demand courage, skill, and sacrifice beyond what they had ever faced. Inside the ship, Elias Ward felt every pulse of energy, every system straining under fire, and he understood that the main core, the same core he had repaired, was beginning to reach its limits. Its power stretched thin by the intensity of the battle, and he realized that if the ship were to continue fighting at full strength, someone would have to take responsibility for stabilizing the core manually, risking life in the process. The alien intelligence, now fully conscious and aware, communicated with him not in words but in feeling and understanding, conveying trust and urgency, and Elias accepted the role. Running to the central chamber as corridors shifted, defenses activated, and alarms blared, knowing that human hands would be the key to keeping the ancient ship alive and effective, while countless lives depended on its survival. With sweat, blood, and sheer determination, Elias engaged the override manually, locking systems into place, stabilizing energy flows, and absorbing the shock of power that surged through the core, understanding that he might never leave the chamber alive, but also knowing that this sacrifice would allow the ship to unleash its full strength against the enemy. As he held the override, the alien ship responded like a living being, unleashing weapons of unimaginable power, beams and pulses that tore through the Cult Dominion fleet, fracturing formations, destroying battleships, and forcing enemy forces to retreat in chaos and terror, while human ships followed the openings and fired where they could, finally experiencing the exhilaration of fighting alongside a godlike ally and turning the tide of war for the first time in decades. On the surface of Karos 9, soldiers watched as the ancient ship's power changed the battlefield, feeling awe and gratitude for the human mechanic who had bridged centuries of alien technology with human ingenuity, bravery, and resilience, and they began to understand a deeper truth, that humanity, even young and underestimated, could create allies, inspire trust, and shape the outcomes of battles that seemed hopeless. The climax of the fight was not just in fire and destruction, but in the unspoken bond between Elias and the ship, a connection forged in courage and intelligence, where human creativity and determination directly enabled the alien vessel to perform feats it had not managed in centuries, proving that even the most ancient and powerful entities could recognize and rely on human skill and heart. After the enemy fleets were broken and forced to retreat, the alien ship drifted silently in orbit, its systems humming smoothly now, fully stabilized, and although the galaxy would remember the battle, few knew that the difference between survival and annihilation came down to one human, a simple mechanic willing to risk everything to fix what seemed impossible. Elias, having completed the override, did not survive the strain of the core's energy surge, leaving his tools behind in the chamber as the ultimate act of sacrifice, a proof of human courage and the cost of victory, while the ship, now fully functional, turned its attention to guarding humanity, moving toward Earth as a protector, a living monument to what one human hand could accomplish when skill, courage, and determination were applied in the face of overwhelming odds. Across the galaxy, alien powers would learn that humans could not be underestimated, that they were capable of brilliance, resilience, and unexpected heroism, and that the combination of human heart and ingenuity with forces of immense power could change the course of entire wars, showing that even the smallest spark, the simple act of fixing what is broken, could ripple across the stars and create a legacy that would last for centuries. And on Karos 9, the frozen planet that had held a giant for centuries, a single wrench lay embedded in ice, silent and cold, a symbol of human hands shaping the destiny of the galaxy, proving that no matter how small or fragile humans might seem compared to the universe, their courage, ingenuity, and willingness to act could awaken titans, defeat impossible enemies, and change everything forever.